Okay, can you all see my screen, which
Yes.
I'm sharing? Okay, let me start with what I saw a few minutes ago. A few minutes ago, as is my, what can I say, I can't say it hobby, it is, anyway. So I was watching a YouTube, I was just browsing through YouTube channels, and what do I see in one of the Tamil channels? I am addicted to YouTube, yeah. So one of the Tamil channels has what they call a Patti Mandram, which is a debate. Okay, Patti Mandram is a Tamil word for a debate. And what is the debate on? Gen Z. Going on right now, maybe, or it might have gotten over just a few minutes ago. And what is the topic for that? Are the Gen Zs, I mean, I'm translating it crudely, are they patriotic or are they not patriotic? That is the that is the debate going on. I'll watch it after our our meeting is over. Gen Z is the in thing, not because it is fashionable, but the point is, as the Prime Minister was saying from the ramparts of the Red Fort today morning, this Gen Zs are the ones who are going to create the future, and they are the ones who are going to benefit from the future, at least for the next few years. And after that, of course, the next generation, alpha, beta, gamma, whatever it is, they will take over. Now, so I thought it was important for us to have a conversation on what kind of leadership is required to inspire Gen Z. So I made bold, I made bold to do this webinar. What do you see there? What's the difference? I deliberately put something suggestive there. Any of you? Hey, you can keep
The
your
rocket,
phones, microphones unmuted, okay? It's okay. Because we're going to talk a lot amongst ourselves. Yeah.
the rocket
Yes,
launch.
Gayatri. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's clear. What's the big deal? What is this show? What's the other one? Okay, one is the rocket launch.
The clock.
What is
Jantar
that?
Mantar.
Jantar Mantar.
Yeah. So
Jantar
what do
Mantar.
you see there? Why do you think I put both these pictures?
Those who are protesting and those who are working on the latest edge of technology.
Yeah, right. So the question is, who are the real Gen Z? Look at the title of the slide. Okay. So the Skyroot is not actually a Gen Z company. It was started by with quite senior people, but as per the reports, the average age of the people who put the rocket and the satellites from first one to do from the private sector, the average age of those people is 28 years of age. Leaving aside all the political noises, etc., I'm not going to get into all that. Okay. The point is there is one set of Gen Z who are like the Jantar Mantar group. There is another group of Gen Z, which is like the Skyroot group. Let me show you the next slide. What do you see common in the first column and what do you see common in the second column? If you know.
You have the first names in the first column.
What?
There.
Okay, it's going to be it's an extraordinarily tough quiz. Okay. So the first column it says Anu, Pradeep, etc., etc., etc. They are the Gen Z who committed suicide because
One.
they did not get through some entrance exam or the other. Many of them from NEET, some of them from others also. The second one, the second column, that says Adit, Divya, and all that. They are the ones, they are also Gen Z who have really made it in life so far. They have achieved something. So there is one group of Gen Z who have taken their lives away, unfortunately. And there is, in the same cohort of Gen Z, there are people who are making waves in many, many fields. This is this question, who is real Gen Z, right? So the intention of this webinar is to initiate a conversation. It's not for me to talk so much. Conversation is actually now become a technical word. It is not simply talking, discussing, gossiping, chatting, and all that. No, that is not conversation. Conversations reorder. They don't reorder an existing state of affairs. When you and I converse about the leadership required for inspiring the Gen Z, we are not simply rehashing the existing knowledge base on leadership. Conversations dynamically create, that means it's going on, it's all the time on, create new context, alter human behavior, and generate completely new outcomes that did not exist before the interaction took place. You and I are interacting now. You have some thoughts about leadership, you have some thoughts about Gen Z, you have some thoughts about inspiring. So do I, all of us have. So we are going to put our heads together and initiate a conversation. We are not going to come to any end because it's going to be dynamic. Maybe tomorrow, if I have to give this seminar or you and I have to just converse, we may have a completely new set of things to converse. Okay? So conversations is a technical word. What do you think is the word radical? When I said radical thoughts. How do you
Something
understand the
beyond
word
set
radical?
of rules, something which is beyond a set of rules or a
Okay,
traditional thought process.
okay. Any other thought about what you understand as the meaning of the word radical?
So radical, to some extent, means it's very, very different, and to some extent, some kind of a protest against the existing thoughts or ideas.
Yeah, it can lead to conflicts because radical thoughts, radical behavior, radical actions, radical initiatives, radical projects are anti-normal. Let me put it that way, right? So that anti-normality can lead to conflicts, which can take the form of protest. I mean, I do not know who protests. Maybe the radicalists protest or the normal people protest against the radicals. We don't know, but it is definitely it can lead to conflicts. Yeah, so I'm cautioning you on this. So we have to solve the conflicts within ourselves when we are in this conversation. Not that what I am going to say is going to be different from normal thinking, but my invitation to you is also join the conversation by thinking something different from what we know. So this conversation is about what kind of a leadership is needed to be different to inspire Gen Z, different from the normal. If yes, what should be the leadership? And the why? Because Gen Z is different from the older generations. Okay. I'll start the conversation about what is the difference or what are the differences between Gen Z and the older generations. We can put all the older generations together, not bother about millennials and all that. Will we initiate a conversation, then I'll open it up for you. So I just given the now much of the content of this webinar, which I'm going to be sharing, is from my my work with Gemini AI. I think Gemini AI, I like Gemini AI a lot amongst the various AI tools, which I've used quite rampantly. I may be affiliated, my affinity for Gemini could also be because I am by Astro, right, June 1st. So it is from that. And these are all based on empirical work from across the world and India. Okay, so let's look at, I just given you three dimensions. How do Gen Zs differ from the older generations? Would one of you like to read this, please? Loud for all of us.
I can read. Should I go
Yes,
ahead?
please, Kavita, go ahead. Yeah, please go
So
ahead.
there are three dimensions you're talking about: lifestyle, worldview, and preferences. With respect to lifestyle, the Gen Z's idea about lifestyle is over 85% are highly confident in applying AI in their daily work tasks, actively upskilling to maintain a competitive edge. Whereas the older generation is they view AI primarily with job loss, anxiety, rather than a natural everyday tool. Worldview, a notable share of Indian Gen Z will completely reject a job, offer, or project if it clashes with their personal beliefs. Indian millennials and Gen X historically prioritized absolute job security and company loyalty over personal views, values, or ethical alignment. The preferences for Gen Z is highly reverse engineered shopping habits, discovering and validating brands through social spaces before buying. They demand high product performance and the best deal rather than blindly choosing the absolute cheapest option. Older generation, older Indian consumers strongly prefer brick and mortar validation, touch and feel, and historically viewed second-hand or thrifted clothes with socio-cultural stigma.
Okay, so these are some differences, not the whole bunch of differences. Just to give you a sense of that there is a huge difference between the Gen Z and the older generations. I've given you three dimensions. There are totally seven dimensions or more, right? Can you see those on the right side?
Yeah.
Okay, because those are hidden in my screen. Doesn't matter. How about a conversation on that? Can small group so we can talk. Whichever one you want to pick up, go ahead. What differences can you see in what they aspire for, what they are inspired by, who they take as role models, and any other dimension you want to include? Anybody can start a conversation on any of these aspects.
I can maybe talk about aspirations.
Yeah, go ahead,
What I
please.
personally feel the younger generation aspire to be at the top. I feel they do look at some shortcuts as to how quickly they can reach the top, whereas the older generation still feels, let me experience it, let me dirty my hand, because that is what will stay with me for a longer time, and then slowly move up the ladder. That's a personal take I have.
Okay. Kavita is doing her PhD and she is involved in a university, private university. So she is all that time in the middle of Gen Z, right?
Including my own daughters.
Oh, yeah, okay. I can't say that about my son. Okay. Thanks a lot for sharing your thought, Kavita. How about others? Stipend.
So I just wanted to add to that difference between Gen Z and the older generations, because there have been different classifications of what millennials are and what Gen X is. I can't even remember what Gen X is, but I know that I'm a baby boomer, right? So I'm the parent of millennials. So Gen Z, I am like grandmother category, right? And what I have, and being a market researcher myself, and having understood millennials for a long time, because they used to be our growing generation at that time when I was working.
They were Gen Z at that time.
They were Gen Z at that time, right?
Yeah.
So what the thinking was at that time was that baby boomers like us, we were the ones that built the capital, the financial assets, right? So all of us came from families like, my parents were, my dad was a railway officer, so fixed income, great values on education. So they gave us a fantastic education, good lifestyle, comfortable middle class. Our generation took it to the next level. And at that time, also building assets, capital building, having a house, having money was very important, as also giving a great education to our children. So we are the generation that really built the wealth, the financial wealth, right?
While Gen Z?
And so no, then I'm moving to millennial.
No,
So,
don't. We can't, we just have 1 hour, so others may also
okay.
want to talk. Keep it short.
Okay,
Just
so
compare all the others as older. That's
yeah,
it.
so Gen Z, I think, have, at least some of them have the comfort of the financial backing of their parents or their grandparents. That's what I feel. So
Okay.
which makes them braver.
Okay.
That's one perspective.
Awesome. Thank you. Swami, do you want to share something?
Yeah, so while personally I don't have much experience of working with Gen Z or this thing, but I have, whatever little I have seen, is that their ownership is a lot more temporary than permanent. Whether it is a job, whether it is a relationship, whether it is a house, whether they would prefer to rent a house or take rather than buying a vehicle, they would rather use a Uber. So they want a lot more things which doesn't tie them down, and that is how they look at the world. That's my take.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move. Others can chip in at a later stage. Here are some differences which are there in India, particularly. I don't want to go over this. I know this slide is extraordinarily dense, quite unlike my slides. So let's look at particularly the last two rows. What inspires them? Because if you look at what inspires them, then that can give us some clue to how to inspire. So Gen Z, older generation, they are inspired by hard work, grit, and nationalism. They're motivated to structural duty, stories of working from the ground up, as one of you said, and building India's foundational modern economy. They respect organizational loyalty and executive power. I want to go to the top. Can one of you read the difference in the Gen Z? I'm asking one of you to read because it's hidden in my screen because all our pictures are coming there, videos. Would
I
like
can.
to go? Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want me to read right from the lifestyle
No.
down?
Just the last two rows.
Oh,
Authenticity onward.
that is what inspires them and
Yes, role
okay.
models.
Okay. So, what inspires the older generation, that is baby boomers, Gen
That I've
X?
read. That
Okay, yeah.
I've read. Read the Gen Z.
So, what inspires them? The Gen Z, authenticity, inclusivity, and purpose. Inspired by radical empathy, mental health transparency, and social/environmental impact, demands psychological safety and ethical leadership at work, rejecting toxic hustle cultures.
Yeah,
And
how
the
these
role
get
model,
what one? How these get translated could vary. Okay. For instance, when they say they are inspired by their having a good mental health, how that get translated? Now, how do each one of them want to keep up their mental health? How do they want transparency? What do they want transparency? How would each one of them seeking psychological safety? There all could be the ways of handling this, but underlying is what is inspiring them. Yeah, go ahead about the role models.
so the role models for Gen Z is relatable creators and bootstrapped founders, look up to self made digital creators, startup disruptors, for example, local fintech or tech founders, independent artists, and immediate peers who build wealth on their own terms.
Yeah, on their own terms, not to be dictated by somebody else. I know of Gen Zs who say, okay, there is some AI, some angel investor comes and says, okay, do this. They say, then I'll give you money. The Gen Z says, to hell with you and your money. I have this to do, my startup. You want to invest in it, do it. That is the level of confidence and their own terms. Right? And you can see the examples of all that. You can see who they are taking as role. What kind of people are they taking as role model? Because why am I focusing on these two roles is particularly because from the what inspires them, we can see we can take some lessons of how to inspire them. From who they take as role models, we can also think about who should those kinds of leaders be to inspire them. Right? That's the whole idea. Anybody wants to say anything at this stage? Shall I move on?
I have one thought just passed through my mind.
Yes, so
If you try to compare what is happening generationally and Maslow's theory of Maslow's pyramid, so are we moving closer and closer to the top? What they are self-actualization and those kind of things, rather than safety, security. If you see what you're seeing on the left-hand side and what you're seeing on the right-hand side, they seem to be heading in that direction. That's why that thought came around.
wonderful question. Anybody have to answer?
I have
Anybody like?
an observation here. When we talk
Hey, wait.
about
Are you
mental
going to
health
respond
for
to?
the Gen
Wait,
Zs,
Kavita, 1 minute. Are you going to respond to Swami's about Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
no.
Okay, just hold it for a minute. What you wanted to say for a minute. Anybody wants to respond to Swami's question regarding Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Yeah, I would like to answer the question.
Yes. Hey,
Yeah,
Ashish.
Ashi. Yeah. So, I'll say I am a
Can we
Gen
see
Z.
you also? If you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Can you see
Thank
me?
you. Yes, I.
Yeah, thank you. I I mean, I agree that Maslow hierarchy theory states a good thing that earlier millennials or boomers, as you said, are believed in first of all the basic needs, the living and food and clothes. But Gen Zs don't rely on it very much because they already feel like they have already grown up from that. They have it. So inspire to be inspirational and see above it, it's not wrong. And as maybe Kavita or Gayatri ma'am said, ki, like the step one, ki Gen Zs don't want to don't want to go step by step. They just need a escape to get to the top level. I just
Escape or
disagree.
escalator?
Huh?
Escape or escalator?
Escape the struggle of getting step by step to
Oh,
the
okay.
top level, I mean. Exactly. So I feel they are not escaping it. It just they know it, they have seen it, they have learned from other experience, it doesn't mean ki if you haven't gone through it, doesn't mean ki you can't learn from it. So I feel ki
Yeah.
they are already at the top level because they have seen it, they have learned it, they have like smart enough, they have learned from you guys, like millennials and the boomers. That's why they are into it. Ki we can get to the top level without struggling in the below level.
I like what you said, you guys. That's the language of Gen Z. Are you a Gen Z, by the way?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks a lot for joining this group. So, my couple of words about Swami is Maslow's hierarchy of need theory itself came several decades ago. Maybe before all these alphabets were invented for the generations, right? So at that time itself, he was talking about self-actualization, which means those people in those years, maybe several decades ago, maybe several hundred years ago, they were also into self-actualization. And today, the Gen Z is not like they don't want the physical needs to be met, right? They also want the physical needs to be met. They want to get into actualization. Maybe the speed with which they do it and the manner in which they do it could be different. See, Maslow's hierarchy of needs as a theory, if you agree with it, it's a very generic theory. It has nothing to do with the generations. Okay. See, you can see what they are inspired by. Mental health, which is what? That has nothing to do with self-actualization, right? Social environment. So that is about social needs and so on. Psychological safety, which is, and ethical leadership, etc., could be somewhere closer to the higher order needs. Yeah. Yeah. So that is my 2 cents. Not that any one of us, what you said is the last word. Keep this conversation up in the future too. Kavita, you wanted to say something about aspiration.
There are few things, my observations. One is the mental health. Because I really appreciate few things that the Gen Z has. That is where I compare it with myself. That is the millennials. First is, I feel we still are mentally strong, because when we were growing up, we never heard anything called mental health. Today, it's a very common topic, and I think it's the need of the hour. We do hear lot of counselors around. We do hear lot of children or young adults getting the counseling done. So that is one thing. What has led to that? I am really surprised. I don't know what it is. Second is, I personally feel we were surrounded more by the family around us. The Gen Z is more or less surrounded by the friend circle. So we always, even today, I say no, family is more important. I hear the Gen Z say no, friends are more important. Maybe that is the demographics around them and around us. I always tell my daughters, you need to have a family around. Any time, any need of the hour, it will be the family who will support you. But the Gen Z says no, it is going to be my friend, which is not wrong, which is a practical thing that they are facing. So these are some of the observations I have.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot for sharing. I'm going to give you some additional information. Lot of these mental health issues, for example, in Bangalore, it's called NIMANS. In Chennai, which I used to live in, it's called the Kilpauk Mental Hospital or something like that. I do not know what it is called in Delhi or Noida and in Hyderabad, etc., or wherever Ashi is coming from. I don't know.
Yerragada in Hyderabad.
Okay, Yerragada. Okay. So now these were all institutions which were started when you and I were not even born, or maybe when you and I were young. Okay. So that is not necessarily. Second thing is, look at the family codes. I understand, though I have not been to a family code for any reason, including some curiosity, definitely not a need. The family codes apparently have very long queues in front of them, right? And a lot of people who are standing in the queues are not Gen Z. The Gen Z, they not even have a family to go to a family court for. So, yeah, okay. Any other comment? Any other statement? Any other observation? Sharing? Can move on. Okay, let's move. So when we talk about leadership to inspire, it can be on many dimensions. What could be the leadership style? What is the source of credibility? So on, so forth, whatever those things you can see there on the screen. These are again something which I threw up when I asked what kind of leadership would inspire Gen Z and so on and so forth. Okay. So what do you have to say about all this? Any of these?
Do you want us to qualify what we think?
You can say, yeah, what kind of a leadership style would inspire Gen Z? What kind of a motivation incentive would inspire Gen Z?
Okay.
How can leaders handle mistakes to inspire Gen Z like that? These are
Mhm.
all dimensions. You can see, you can talk only about the Gen Z, that's fine.
Mhm.
I think my observation here is adding to the list provided. I think Gen Zs, could get inspired, when the leadership speaks, with much more outcome, which is, mentioned. They get inspired. Now, okay, you do this. Now, if uh, this is like a likely outcome out of what you want to do.
So are you relating it to any one of these dimensions, Sharath? By the way, Sharath has two Gen Zs to handle, to inspire if you wish. I
Now
said he's
that
my
we have
cousin,
a
so I
Gen
have.
Z on the group, I
I
would
know.
be
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
sure, sure.
I would be more interested to hear from her.
Yeah. She can
Yeah,
validate. She can
yeah,
validate
go
what we're
ahead.
saying.
That's a good
Yes.
idea. Thank you, Kavita, for that suggestion. Yeah, Ashi,
Yeah.
I can't see who are all the participants. So if there are Gen Zs in the participants, please go ahead. See, this
Yeah.
is your chance. You can use any of those seven dimensions.
Yeah, for me, the first would be the communication style. If you
Okay.
won't communicate correctly to a Gen Z, they won't respond at all. So for me, the main important will be the communication style, and um, it
What kind of
depends.
style will inspire them?
Means gentle, like gentle parenting, like gentle style of explaining things, not being key. You are not doing this right. You are doing this wrong. We want, if you feel something is wrong, then you can sit us down and talk it calmly. Ki, okay, you're
Hmm.
doing this wrong, and this is how you can improve it, rather than just lashing on us. Ki, you don't know how to do it. This is not right, like that. So
Hmm.
communication style is very, very important for us. And later the all, excuse me.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is way more important for Gen Zs. And uske baad, after that, I'll say work culture is also important. I feel Gen Z should feel like they belong there and they are needed
Hmm.
there. If we
Hmm.
won't feel, we can't be like the millennials and the boomers ki going at 9 o'clock, coming back at 5 and 6 and be like
Hmm.
done with the work. No, we should feel like ki if we are going there, if we are not there, the work can't be done. So we are needed there.
Hmm.
That's why nowadays they are including into bootstrapping and startups. Why? Because they want to do their own, that they belong,
Correct.
something they created.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I have
That's
a
why.
question here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you say we want a work culture where we should feel we are needed. So my
Yeah.
question is, how do you make yourself feel that needed one?
We are improving. We are, like you said, we are into what AI a lot.
Yeah.
So I'll say, yeah, we are up to date. Every Gen Z is very much up to date.
Okay.
We know how to do stuff. We know if we can't, we'll find out a way in a day, in an hour, in the deadline, we'll finish it somehow by hook or by crook.
Okay.
I'm coaching.
Yeah.
Just a short intervention. Actually, you can continue after I do this. I was coaching one of my participants yesterday in causing incredible performance, and he and his team had to come up with something. It's a completely software with a dashboard, and he was telling me that they are already using AI, and they are all Gen Z guys. The participant himself is a Gen Z, and his team members must be younger than him. And he says, yes, we are using AI, we are using open source, blah, blah, blah. And he said that he can't achieve his goal. He said it needs one more week. But yesterday he found that he can actually, in the coaching, he can achieve it much before his deadline, which he took by using AI. So they are actually, what I'm hearing Ashish say is, you tell us what you want, leave it to us, we'll deliver. That's what you're saying, no, Ashish? Don't micromanage us, don't breathe over our necks,
Exactly.
and don't keep cribbing if things are not happening the way you do it. Am I correct in understanding the way you say it?
Yes, exactly.
Thank you. Yeah, others. Go ahead, please, Ashish, if you want to go ahead. What kind of feedback mechanism, what kind of credibility of the leaders what should the leaders, how would you look at a leader as credible?
Um, it's more depend on the leadership style of more of the credibility, if I'll say. I don't want the leader to be like highly achieved. Like before, people used to be like they have to be like up the stage person. If he hasn't achieved something, though, then we can't follow them or something like that. We are ready to be lead by a person who is not very much credible. Like sorry, not very much like achieved
Achieved,
a
yeah.
lot of things. Yeah, but we are ready to accept him, follow him if their thinking and our thinking and is matching, and we think that he will or she will lead us to a very like the place we are trying to reach in a better manner, I'll say.
Okay. Well, they help us achieve what we want to achieve. They need not be achievers themselves, high achievers themselves. That's what you say.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. That is the credibility you're looking for. Okay. Any other?
I think the Gen Z believes in walk the talk. So the
Uh-huh.
leader who actually, exhibits what they say, I think that is where the trust comes up then. Actually, the leader who is actually delivering what they believe in, I guess that's one very important thing out there.
Wonderful. That leads me to another question. Walk the talk is the definition of credibility in general. The question is, what is it that they are talking to walk?
So if there is something that needs to, the leader takes the lead. Okay, fine. I have a team. I have to get the work done. But what is his or her own contribution to the whole overall picture? Is he or she also a part of the same thing? Or is it only the instructions given to the team? Okay, guys, do this. I want the report by the end of the day. I want it in this manner, that manner, and whatever. It should be on my table by so and so time. I don't think Gen Z is looking at that. They would
What
prefer
is
the leader, also the one who's leading, also to be the part of the whole exercise.
okay. So walk with them, you mean?
Walk with them, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Because when you say walk the talk, my question went to what is it that they talk which they
We
should
don't talk.
role model, right? Okay. Cool. Anything else? Anybody else?
If I was to add, if you're talking
Yes,
about
please.
if you're talking about things like walk the talk or labels that would resonate with Gen Z, I think also out of box thinking, uh, finding new solutions to old problems, not getting constrained by a certain way of doing things.
Hmm.
So, along with walk the talk, I would say out of box thinking or design thinking would be something that would resonate with Gen Z, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
I have
Okay.
another question here for handling mistakes. Why I'm asking, other day I was talking, I have two daughters. So one came on the call, other one did not. So I get to hear from the one who was on the call saying, Mom, she's not going to be on the call. She's under stress. She has made some mistakes. She has to set it right. So I think a typical mother's answer was, why? So what if she has made a mistake? Only humans make mistakes. So why does she take it as a stress for herself? And it's okay to make mistakes. So I'm not very sure how everybody can make a mistake, but how do you see the mistakes happening? You will address the mistake, you will correct the mistake, but that phase or the time that you are going through from having realized that a mistake has happened from my side to to correcting the mistake that has happened, I somewhere feel there is a lot of anxiety and a stress that gets built up on an individual, which I'm not too sure whether we face the same when we were working, because we have also made mistakes in our own ways. Maybe the dealing with mistakes is different. I'm not too sure.
Or the image which gets created in that Gen Z person, your daughter, because she made a mistake, and how her peers view that.
Yes,
That could be the one which creates stress.
maybe.
See, if her boss shouts at her mistake, I think she is going to, I mean, she's one of the characters of Gen Z, she is going to say, okay, to hell with you, I'm going. Right? But there are other things also. You look at what they are concerned about is also their financial security. Gen Z is also, it is, I don't think we came across that earlier. They're very concerned about their financial security. Okay. So they would invest right from the beginning. Right. Their investment decisions may be right, wrong, like your decision or my decision. But they are concerned about the financial security. That may be one reason they want to go to the top faster, or when they come up with a new venture, and their idea is not to make profit out of that venture, long duration, etc., etc. They want to bring that venture to a particular level and then sell it off and make the millions. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, let's move. So here is what AI told me. Ashi, can you read this? Primary leadership style.
There is one more Gen Z professor. Mazhar is also there.
Okay.
Mazhar, your thoughts, please. You can contribute.
Can speak in any language. If you is comfortable in Hindi, that's also fine. I'm sure all of us understand Hindi, right? Swami, you understand Hindi well?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So just read.
Should I read?
Yeah, please go ahead.
From the first para, like primary leadership style.
Yes. Read row wise.
Okay. So I'll start with older generation. Transactions and command and control, driven by clear hierarchy, top-down directives, and defined matrix. Performance is managed via formal structures.
So that is what they are
Uh,
inspired by. The older generation were inspired by this. Yeah,
Then
Gen Z.
Gen Z, should I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gen Z is servant and authentic leadership, prefers a non-hierarchical, flat approach focused on psychological safety, open feedback, and collaborative decision making.
That's what you actually mentioned, Ashi. That kind of leadership is what inspires. Forget about servant, authentic, and all that. The details are what are important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next one, source of
Source of
credibility.
source of credibility. Pl- Uh,
Pedigree. Pedigree means what kind of a family I come from, what kind of an educational institution I come from, and all that, right?
ba
Just go ahead with
Here,
respect is, yeah.
uh, can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. So Gen Z.
No, I think she's having some trouble.
Yes. Swami, why don't you go ahead?
Okay. The
Uh,
source of credibility, as far as the older
Actually, you can
generation,
read the next one, okay? Yeah, go ahead.
pedigree, tenure, and title. Respect is automatically given based on a leader's corporate title, years of experience, or elite institutional pedigree like IIT and IIM tags.
Yeah,
Whereas Gen Z is looking for empathy, transparency, and tech competence. Respect is earned
that
through
is the
raw authenticity, open vulnerability, emotional intelligence, and sharp digital AI capability. Now, there are a lot of new words that have come up here. One is called raw authenticity.
yeah.
Second is open vulnerability. I can understand emotional intelligence. I do understand digital and AI capability. But these two things, in terms of not the words, but in terms of behavior, is
Hmm.
something new for me. Yeah.
Yeah. There is a long, long ago, I came across a YouTube, I think it was a TED Talk by a lady called Brené Brown. That's
Mm.
how I think it should be pronounced. It's called vulnerability.
Mm.
Long, very long ago, almost 10 years ago, I saw that video.
Mm.
Vulnerability is saying, yes, I don't know. I'm not all that great. It's
Okay.
okay. That is vulnerability. Don't have to act crazy and as if you are the last word on planet Earth on
Mm.
anything. Raw authenticity could even, I've seen in my coaching, uh, people actually break down once in a while.
Mm.
So they are, that raw authenticity could also be uh, just opening up your emotions without any fear, without any
Mm.
inhibition. Yeah. And that's, I think,
Mm.
what Gen Z
Sure.
is inspired by. That kind of a credibility is what we're talking about.
So they are not looking for a mask of a executive or a
Absolutely.
leader. They want a
Correct.
human being to be there, and
Actually,
that's what I could make up from what you have
human.
told. I'm just getting a
Exactly.
call, so I'll just mute it for a minute. Vaidyanathan,
Sure,
or
sure.
Vaidyanathan is calm here. Next model.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Ashi, you want to go ahead with the communication style?
yeah, sure.
Mm.
Communication style, older generation, formal and structured. Prefer structured, scheduled reviews, formal email communication, and careful curated town halls or corporate presentations. Whereas
Yeah,
Gen Z's immediate, real time, and candid values instance, direct communication that is Slack, instant messages, and demands radical honesty about company challenges over corporate spin.
yeah. Okay. Keep in mind, we are talking about what kind of a leadership inspires and contrasting this by the older generation and the new generation, the Gen Z. The other four, quickly. Who would like to go ahead?
I can read, yeah.
Yes, please.
So leadership dimension is approach to work, culture.
Culture.
Yeah. Older generations, the hustle and face time inspires loyalty through shared sacrifices, long office hours, visible face time, and a mindset that work-life balance is earned only after years of service. So true.
Mm.
Then Gen Z, sustainable progress and flexibility, inspired by leaders who advocate for mental health, respect hard boundaries, offer remote hybrid flexibility, and protect teams from burnout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they want that work-life balance then and there.
Hmm.
Mm. Go ahead. You want to do this the next one too?
Yeah, okay. Motivation and incentives, societal status and financial stability motivates teams by promising long-term job security, promotions, prestigious corporate titles, and traditional linear career growth. And for Gen Z, skill mastery and purpose motivates teams through rapid upskilling, exposure to cutting-edge tools, diverse projects, and a clear ethical alignment with social and ESG values. Yeah.
Okay. Who would like to read
What
about
is
feedback?
ESG?
ESG.
Yes. I think it's something to environmental.
Yeah, environment, sustainability, and so on,
Yeah, environment and sustainability. Yeah.
and governance
Yeah.
values.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going for the next two leadership dimensions. The next one
Please.
is feedback mechanism. For the older generation, annual appraisal cycle that relies on formal
Relies
backward
on. Relies on.
sorry, relies on formal backward looking performance review cycles like KPIs, KRAs that occur quarterly or annually. For the Genjis, continuous and forward looking. Expect continuous micro feedback loop focused on personal growth, mentorship, and immediate development guidance.
Yeah. So you don't wait for your training calendar and all that,
And the annual
right?
performance calendar
They
for
want it then and
the
there,
whole year.
feedback, then and
Yeah.
there, guidance, then and there, mentoring. Okay.
Mhm.
All is long drawn. So it has its own implications for our work also, Shantanu. Okay.
Handling mistakes, corrective and instructional for the older generation. Mistakes are viewed as performance gaps that require formal tracking, corrective plans, or marginal
Or
intervention.
managerial intervention.
Managerial intervention. Managerial intervention. For the Gen Z, psychological safety and iteration. Mistakes are embarked as natural parts of an agile,
Are
fast-paced,
embraced.
embraced. Mistakes are embraced as natural parts of an agile, fast-paced, fail-fast learning culture without the fear of penalization.
Yeah.
Mm.
So others, maybe Sharath, who has two Gen Zs, and there are two Gen Zs here in this meeting, and others who have Gen Zs to handle right now, who are there right now in their lives. You you see these operating or something else?
Yeah.
The column on what inspires Gen Z.
Yes. In fact, while everyone were reading and going through the discussions with I was reflecting on everything, relating it to my own the two Gen Z.
Daughter and son.
Yes.
Hmm.
And yeah, some of them, yeah, I could reflect, what happened during my conversations with them, right? How they react, what they would expect me to come out and say, right? And how they would expect us to react and how they react. Yeah, I think we are spot on.
Yeah. So that gives me an opportunity to say this. When we say leadership, it is not necessarily only in an organizational situation, work organization. Parents leadership is certain qualities of somebody who has to inspire. It could be parents, it could be brothers, it could be peers themselves. Gen Z inspiring Gen Z kind of stuff. If one Gen Z is acting corrective or instructional to another Gen Z, I'm sure that second Gen Z is going to throw that first Gen Z out. Okay. So it could be for parenting, it could be in the context of teaching, it could be in the context of anything, right? Not necessarily only in an organizational hierarchical situation of somebody in something horribly called leadership roles. Okay, great. Wonderful. Let's
In fact, I have one small question out here or something my observation to share. Sometime back, I had visited a college for a session with the final year graduates on what would be the employment opportunity or something like that, a generic topic. I realized the Gen Z, are not open, or no, they don't accept if you're imposing your views or ideas, however practical they are. So they are not in a position to take if you come and impose something on them. One of the examples, I'm not sure if I could take it here, is one question was which was directly put to me was that now a couple of students got up and asked, no, earlier Narayan Murthy inspired all of us, the entire IT came up, all this stuff is all good enough, but how is he now saying, in spite of all the AIs and a lot of other things coming up, how is he imposing that no present generation should work 70 hours a week or no 77 hours a week? This is not acceptable to us.
Yeah. So when somebody imposes like this, 70 hours, so many hours, etc., they will rebel. But on
Yeah.
their own, they may work 80 hours
Yeah, yes, they would do. Yes, yes.
when they see something meaningful. Right? That's the whole idea. The point is about imposition.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks for sharing this, Sharon. Okay. So I'm going to keep just the Gen Z inspiration. The next question we have to be concerned about is how to develop that kind of a leadership. I am afraid we will not be able to do this. It's already 12. So I'm going to skip this part, but just to bring it to your notice that how do we develop if you and I are people are in leadership positions or in a position to inspire Gen Z, how would you develop these kinds of inspiration, these qualities in you? If you are in the training, coaching, mentoring, or whatever those kinds of functions, when you do these kind of leadership development programs, what are you going to focus on to develop that kind of a leadership which is going to be for Gen Z? Third, if you are a manager, leader, etc., already in organizations like some of you are, what kind of a leadership style or leadership credibility, etc., you are going to build which can inspire Gen Z, right? Keep in mind, going forward, it's going to be the Gen Z world for the next maybe a couple of decades. And after that, the alpha will take over. I do not know whether at that time we'll start talking about Gen Z versus Gen Alpha. There could be a completely different breed altogether. We don't know. We don't have research studies on these. Some of these studies which were referred to in this presentation, they included longitudinal studies like that of I forget. They have been doing studies on Gen Z in particular across the world, 70 odd countries. So they keep publishing those kinds of reports and so on. These are all one of those top 5 companies, PricewaterhouseCoopers and so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm going to skip this part of the session and just point out that one way to develop these qualities is through doing some work with the causing incredible performance work, which is what I'm engaged with all the time. And there are specific things in the CIP framework which helps you develop those kind of qualities of leadership. Just leave it at that. Uh, so my invitation to you is for you to look forward, step forward, not simply leave this here and this was a nice session or it was a boring session. But don't get, I mean, judgments cannot be avoided. It's perfectly okay to have judgments. But what matters is what are you going to do next? So you can join the CIP community. You've been getting mails from that. You can get trained as a coach or coach for developing these kind of leadership. You can opt for that. Or we can say, okay, you want to learn the CIP framework to use it with no strings attached in the context of Gen Z, the inspiration, leadership, whatever, or anything else. You can also join the flagship program on causing incredible performance for you to cause incredible performance in leading Gen Z, particularly if you're interested in that. Or you can champion or sponsor any of the above in your own organizations if you are in some such kind of decision making situations. Okay, so please start thinking about it. I'm sure we initiated a discussion, as I said in the beginning. And thanks a ton for being here. And you can write to us, you can send a mail to contact and all that. Or you can put it in the chat now. I'll give you a few minutes time. You can put the serial number in this the steps forward. You can say which of these serial numbers you would be interested in so that and we will get back to you on that. We have your phone numbers, you have your email. One of us will get back to you regarding your interest. So my request to you is in the chat, just type the serial number or numbers you would want to take forward. If you want to ask about any of these things, you can ask us. You just want to explore that also. That's also fine. Your interest may be simply to find out, okay, I'm looking at three, I don't know what it involves. I want to have a chat on that. That's also fine. Perfect. No commitment here. Just that you want to take that step to discuss any of these fine. One or more. Just put it in the chat. Okay. Oh, anybody wanting to type, you're thinking about it?
I need to think through.
Sure, sure. Not a problem. Absolutely no issue. If you want me or somebody to talk to you about in by way of thinking through, you can do that also, Kavita.
Sure, thank you.
The renting with the Gen Zs in this group, Ashi, and who's the other person you said, Shantanu, name?
Mazhar?
Mazhar.
Mazhar. Yeah, okay. Is there anything you want to say before we wind up? Okay. Thanks a lot, guys, for being here. I really appreciate your interest and I really value your contribution. Tanya, I hope you have recorded this. I don't know. I didn't see that coming up. Doesn't matter. So that's a wonderful conversation to start with, and I'm hoping that it triggered certain thoughts in you to think that the way you and I would deal with Gen Z cannot be the way we dealt with somebody else, with masters or the generations or the previous generation. Looks like they have to be radically different, completely different than what we're thinking about. Right? For instance, earlier you could set goals, targets, annual targets, etc., and you can say that is our cultural, that is our company process, for example, of performance management. The Gen Z is going to say, "What do you mean by annual target? I want to know what you want me to deliver next week. Right? What is the result you want from next week?" Now, so all those lot of things in the organizational processes, etc., may have to alter. And it's going to be all those are holy cows in organizations today. Okay. I will have performance reviews once in a quarter. The Gen Z says, okay, you can have it once in a quarter, not a problem. But tell me tomorrow or today evening, tell me what I did right, what did I do wrong, how to correct it. Tell me right now. Managers cannot say, no, 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 that is not a part of HR process. Why? Hey, you and I work, everything needs to change. I can see that. And holding on to our holy cows, it's not going to work. Thank you very much. I want to leave you all with that message. Please keep talking about it, thinking about it, talk to others who you can talk with, and keep this conversation in our field going. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Balaji. I think it was quite, for me, quite a few things were eye-opening. and maybe a little more time is required to digest it. That
Yeah.
how can I use it? Yeah,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
especially we are
Uh,
working in the youth as our focus area. We need to think about how we can use this to in our programs.
that is one of the triggers for this webinar for me.
Yeah. Okay. But I have not been able to fully digest it.
Yeah,
So I need to
if
think
anybody
about it.
wants
Yeah.
this, the slides, I will be really too glad to send them. So yeah, put that in the chat if you want to get the slides.
I also
Sure.
would like to have the slides.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
please share it with me as
So
well.
what I'll do is, instead of each one of you typing, I will send it to all of you who are in this. We have your email address. And
Yeah.
if you think that please look at your spam folder, by the way. I'll send maybe by tomorrow, you should get it on or before tomorrow. So if you don't get it, look at your spam folder. I'll work with Tanya and get this done. Okay?
Okay. Right.
Send it. And
Thank
if you think that after that you want to throw it away, you're most welcome. That's fine.
you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Professor.
Okay.
Bye
Thank you.
bye. Thanks a
Thank you.
lot.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye,
Thanks a lot.
everyone.